Betty Canick, and I'm a painter. I'm a member of River Street Artists, and I work in many different mediums. I do a lot of water-based painting, either watercolor or acrylic gouache paintings. I do a lot of collages and mixed media paintings, and some oils. 6 months ago, when the pandemic started, I brought in a big suitcase and a big box, and I packed up a whole lot of stuff and dragged it home. And I took walks every day, took pictures, sometimes made sketches, and did paintings, a lot of them about what I was seeing. And I also did a whole bunch of collages with burnt paper, which I think had something to do with how I was feeling about the whole situation in the world. This one I called Burnt Offering. This one, Topsy-Turvy.
Any reason why?
Because it says topsy-turvy. Somehow I felt more confined, and I think that that made me think about broader spaces and as a kind of sanctuary, a kind of roaming free experience that I wasn't actually feeling. And I think the burnt paper probably was about how bleak the world was feeling. This is not great art, but it was a bad Trump day around the time that the decision was made to allow trophy hunting. And I was in a horrible state of mind. And I came in and I looked, and I had this piece of acrylic that I'd used as a palette. So then I began to just collage over that. And so that's a kind of heart of darkness painting. But I think it also has some fury in it. I'm not a political painter, I'm a political person. Somehow it's important to find oneself and be authentic in whatever we create and whatever we paint, and I'm quite sure that what's happening around us seeps in some way. I think there are a lot of people who feel they have to tune out, and I completely understand that, because there's only so much you can do. You know, I can't save all the animals, I can't change the environment, I can't change the culture of the country around me, but it somehow feels important to believe something, to be available, you know, affectively available to speak and to have convictions. I most of the time don't have specific ideas. I play a lot with colors and shapes and papers. And when I come in, if the spaces around me aren't occupied, I put on music. I think St. Matthew Passion is one of my favorites. I have Brahms Requiem. I have an Eva Cassidy recording that I've played to death, and the music helps me. I would ordinarily have this wall, at least a good part of it, available for work, so I would I could put up a canvas, or I could put up, I use a lot of large paper, so I might put up a sheet or two of large paper and begin to work. Or else on my, I have this thing that's sort of in process. The story about this one is my mother saved all my paintings from when I was a child. There was one crumbling picture from when I was 6 years old, and all these yellow things are from that 6-year-old painting. So I tried gluing them together, but there's more to do on that. So that I might either stick up on the wall or put it on the table and fool around with it, play around with it. It's fooling around, but I think there's always a signature to how people fool around. So my fooling around is different than somebody else's. So the colors of the shapes that I might
Play with
or put next to each other have something to do with me. I'm in the Arboretum a lot. I live about 1.5 miles from the Arboretum. And if there are colors together that feel startling, or shapes, or if there's some sort of idea that grabs me, I'll take a picture. These are the Arboretum. In the Arboretum, there are corners that are light and corners that are dark. For me, the curtailing of experiences of engaging with art has felt catastrophic, because in ordinary life, I would go to a lot of galleries, a lot of museums, I would go to openings. It isn't the same, I discovered, to look at some symphony orchestra on my computer screen. And it isn't the same to take an art class on the computer, and it isn't the same, even though it's so nice to be able to see somebody's artwork, it isn't the same. It is really joyful to be able to wander around. Another of the treasures of Open Studios was in the few minutes before we opened up to run up and down the hall and see everybody's work. It's just a joy. What I particularly loved was my conversations with people. So people would come in, a lot of people would talk about their own paintings, or their mother wants to paint, or their daughter paints, or can I look at something they did? I loved those things. I would see somebody the next year and remember them. It was very nice. One time the mayor came in. and kids too. Yeah, even little kids, they're an artist. I can't say how everything is going to change. I'm preoccupied with the election coming up. I think how we all feel will depend on what happens then. And I'm hoping to find a way to connect with myself more, to do work that feels personal and meaningful for me.